Well,
So,
this week we have a very special somebody close to my heart that we'll be interviewing. She's quite amazing. She's also a teacher, very beautiful, and also talented because she's very good with children. It is my very close friend, Nadia Kwong. Welcome.
yay! Hi, Nadia. So we wanted to get you on the podcast because I was really happy that you messaged us on Instagram because you'd
Mhm.
watched one of our episodes and you'd made quite a valid point. And I thought, do you know what? A lot of the times when me and Cheryl do these podcasts, we agree with each other a lot. It's quite rare that me and Cheryl disagree. So it was quite nice to hear different opinions. And I messaged Cheryl and I was like, we should just get her on the podcast and let's not have this conversation with her just personally. Like, let's do it on the podcast.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm going to name this episode New Mothers, Old Traditions. Because that's
Yeah.
how I do feel living in Taiwan. I do feel like there are lots of new mums, but there's still lots of old traditions that still are being played, right?
Yeah.
So, how from last week's episode, how did you feel? Because you made, I think you made a comment. You said that you don't think the doctors are telling Taiwanese women to starve their babies,
Yeah.
but maintaining a healthy weight is really important, right?
Okay. So, my comment on this would be that, as you guys know, that the culture here is very different. Also, how
Mm,
people express, I feel like people here, they just go straight to the point. They don't
yeah.
want too much explanation. So, okay, this is just, this is just my guess. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never been pregnant, never been close to that or anything. So, I think the doctors just don't want to explain. They're just too tired. They're just like, you know what? Just don't get overweight. Don't we don't want a huge baby. That's all. I don't think they meant to starve your baby, but they're just not as, can I use the word enthusiastic? They're just not like, hey,
Mm,
it's easy. I think the problem is, as we all know, okay, like even we're in Asia, obesity is becoming quite an issue now compared
yeah.
to a decade ago. So I think doctors here just mean that, hey, just please, moms, just don't overeat. I mean, watch your weight a little bit. We don't want an
Yeah.
unhealthy baby. But okay, I also get, your point, and you and
Mm,
Cheryl's point is probably that it's everything should be best for the baby and best for the mom's mental health and everything.
Yeah.
Same. But like I said, I
yeah.
don't think the doctors here, I don't want to use the word care, but I don't think they're like, hey, how are you feeling? All they want is, hey, you stay healthy, baby, stay okay. I don't
Yeah.
Hmm.
just come here, get the baby, popping, like just
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. But I think
yeah.
um because we go based on our experiences, I've
Mm-hmm.
never ever heard one person ever in
Mm-hmm.
England. I'm obviously just going to compare back to my own
Yeah.
country, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
never heard anyone in England say like, "Oh, I can't eat too much. Like, oh, I need to keep the baby small so that I
Yeah.
can have a better delivery." I've
Mm-hmm.
never ever heard anyone say that, but I've heard it here. Not only have I heard it, I've seen it where I knew someone not too long ago that was pregnant and she was eating one meal a day
Oh,
because
wow.
she yeah, and she was really worried that she'd put on 7 kg. And 7 kg, I've already put, that's exactly the amount of weight I've put on now since being pregnant. And actually, I've been following the guidelines. I've put
Mm-hmm.
on the required amount of weight
Mm-hmm.
for my body, in my body mass index, and I've been trying to follow that as accurately as possible. But I have been following the NHS system because that's my home country, right? And I think that's where the thing was with Cheryl and I. Cheryl's actually experienced it with a doctor who told her she was too big. Whereas
Yeah.
in South Africa, correct me if I'm wrong or right, you wouldn't have been too big.
No, but also, I just think, you went with me with my, scans and everything. Yes, you. And like, I just think it's true. Like when Nadia said to me, because I spoke to her privately, not on our Instagram that me and Kat share. And I was like, what do you mean? And when she explained to me, like, I don't think they're saying that women should be not eating and keeping their baby underweight. She was like, women are automatically smaller, like Asian women are automatically smaller than Western women. But she was like, it is wrong for a doctor to say to a mixed person or a person who is a Westerner who doesn't have much Asian blood to be like, keep your baby small, because it doesn't really apply to them as it does to an Asian woman. So, you know, when I did not follow the guidelines of the weight criteria, everybody, I put on too much weight. I do not recommend this to pregnant people because I just let it go. Like I put on too much, 30 kilos.
How much? What, how many kg did you put on throughout the entire pregnancy?
Like 30.
30 in the whole, like 30 kg.
30, okay, everyone look that up. I don't know how much that is in pounds. It's double the required Western weight. Okay,
15.
Okay, I'm not trying to
is required.
I'm not saying to everybody, you know, like be me. Like I remember Nadia and I going to a scan and she came with me. I was very pregnant and I ran up to her and I hobble up to her and I'm like heavily pregnant and I say to her, Nadia, how much do you think I weigh? And she's like 73 and I'm like, no. And she's like, more than 75. I'm like, more than 80. I'm like, she's like, oh my goodness. And then yeah, and then she even said to me like, you don't look it, but I really put on a lot. And I don't know if I did look it or I didn't, but you know what, guys, everyone is unique. Okay, if you didn't put on weight, it's okay. If you did, it's okay, as long as your mom and baby are healthy, I guess. But yeah, I really found that interesting the way Nadia put it, because I never saw it as the doctor only associating the keep the baby small with an Asian person. Like I didn't assume that they just assumed like, oh, you know, like you're an Asian girl because you look Asian, instead of knowing, oh, okay, she's mixed race. She probably not as small, built small compared to like, you know, Westerner or an Asian person, right?
And I struggled with that my whole life here anyways, you know, just I'm nowhere near, you know, like chubby or anything. I don't think, but I'm just, you know, my bones just I'm half Arabic, by the way, half Arab. So we're just built a little bit different, you know?
I did look up the US guidelines from the Institute of the Medicine, and it's recommended that underweight women gain around 28 to 40 pounds during pregnancy, which is 12.5 or 18 kilograms. Normal weight women gain 25 to 35 pounds between 11 and 16 kg. And then overweight women should gain 15 to 25 pounds, which is 7 to 11 kg. And if you're obese, then around 11 to 20 pounds, which is only 5 to 9 kg. So it's a lot less. So the level of how much you should be gaining, depending on how overweight you are. I mean, 30 kg is a lot, Cheryl, but you would have been probably on the underweight, right?
Yeah. So well, yes, when I started, I was not that underweight, but you know, I was trying to have a baby, so I gained a bit.
My weight right now.
Yeah. And Nadia would know. She was there for the whole process. And like I was underweight, but then I started when I was starting, and then it took me a while, not too much of a long time, but when I became serious about it, I had gained weight. Like Nadia even noticed, like asked me like, oh, have you gained weight? You look good. Not that not that she was pointing it out. She was just like, is it because you're trying to have a baby? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm not stressing so much about like eating, because I used to be crazy, and she knows, like I was didn't eat this, didn't eat that. But yeah, so it was very interesting to see her points, and also she has a lot of good points, and it's always the opposite of what I think. Like it's always been in contradiction to what I think of things. So I was like, it's great to have you on today.
I I imagine a woman who's like 153 centimeters. How I don't know how tall that is by, but like you know, this is, I think in Taiwan, women are around like what, like my height. I don't know how tall Kat is, but Cheryl and I are like 163, 4-ish. Okay, we are considered as on the tall side already. If you think about it, people are like, "Oh, you're quite tall over here,"
and you would not be tall in England. You'd be short.
where people called me petite in South Africa and Europe.
Yes, you were.
When
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm petite over there. Here, I'm not petite at all.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like imagine the doctors here, they're used to that body. And then me going in there, I'm like already quite, and then they're gonna start telling me like, hey, but of course, I mean, I believe that I think it's also, to be honest, lack of experience.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
not
And
over here.
Yes.
and that's dangerous, because if you're telling a woman that her gestational diabetes, she's got gestational diabetes, maybe she has it in Taiwan, but if you were to go to the standards of the NHS, maybe you wouldn't have it over there. And by telling someone that they have gestational diabetes, that's going to cause stress. That's going to cause extra hospital visits. All of these things that are adding on to something that's already quite a difficult time of a pregnant, like being pregnant's difficult. It's
yeah. Also, I didn't understand, like with Cheryl's first doctor, okay? I went with her quite often.
Yeah.
Cheryl was like perfect on her medical exams and examination. Everything was perfect, right? Why would you tell someone who has she has 0 issues? I think in that case, I personally don't think weight should be brought up unless you see problems and you're like, Cheryl,
blood pressure,
yeah, it
things
could
like that.
be, but otherwise, why mention, again, I think this is just a culture, to be honest.